All right. Here we are. This is the last one of these before I'm in Boston. And that's a big moment. That's very exciting. So, um, I don't know how many people we're going to have tonight. It's not a big deal, but for those of you that are here or tuning in later, essentially what this is an opportunity for me to create content for the internet while also sharing my vast stores of knowledge about MIT and life after MIT, and do all of this under the guise of designing a cross stitch pattern, because in less than 24 hours, I will be on the road driving to Boston for CPW 2023. And when I get to CPW, the plan is to camp out with a mobile live streaming rig, which I'm using for the first time this evening. Camp out with a mobile live streaming station right near registration and bag drop and all that. And basically just start cross stitching this thing and stitch and stitch and stitch, like without sleeping, and just all the way through CPW. And then at the end, you will have gotten the opportunity to see me go from just blank fabric to full cross stitch. So I did this last year on campus, and the 2 years prior, I did it when CPW was virtual. I did like virtual craft corners and things. So this will be round 2 in real life CPW, and done 2 of these pattern design sessions so far, and have this to show for it. I have a number of ideas kind of floating around, and tonight we're going to pull it all together into some semblance of a final pattern. We're going to get all of our stitch counts. We're going to make sure that I actually will have enough time to do all of this, make a shopping list, and then sometime between tonight and Wednesday, I need to stop at a craft store and actually buy all of the stuff I need for this. We're playing this very last minute, but it's gonna happen. We're gonna get it done. So kind of the theme, the idea here, what I'm trying to do is do like a progression for the class of 2027, which is you guys. I really need you to tell me right now in the chat if I got the graduation year wrong, because it's going to be really uncomfortable if I miscounted and you guys aren't the class of 2027. I'm pretty sure you are, but confirmation would be awesome. So the idea is to do progression, where your first kind of encounter or experience with MIT, good, I'm glad to hear it, is the getting the tube. I mean, you apply and you research it and all that, but your beginning of like an actual formalized, like you're going to go to MIT, is you get the tube. And so we have little Tim the Beaver here, coming out of an admissions tube, which is just like a knockoff Mario pipe that I colored silver. And this will actually be, I have like some kind of cool iridescent thread that I'm going to use for the tube. So he's popping out of a tube. And then, so that's this year in 2023. And then the cycle continues, and halfway through your tenure at MIT, you get what is called a brass rat. It's your class ring, the MIT class ring. And it is famous for being like this obnoxiously large gold ring that screams like, I went to MIT, look at me, look at me, look at this. And it's got a big flat top called a bezel, and it traditionally has like a really ornate looking beaver on it. So I put Wide Tim on one. If you're not acquainted with Wide Tim yet, don't worry. You will. There, I don't know how it started exactly. I know there's an admissions blog entry that just goes into like a super deep dive on the origins and like musings on Wide Tim. So I put him on a pixel art brass rat. Again, potentially with the iridescent gold floss. I'm going to make him so he's kind of shiny. I don't know yet if I'm going to do just Wide Tim shiny or the whole ring. We'll see. And then we have, 2 years later, we have graduation. This is the part of the pattern that I'm least sure of yet, in terms of like, I don't totally know if I love the interface between the mortarboard and the head, but I've messed around with it a lot and I'm not finding a better way to do it. So it's going to live like this for now, unless I'm struck with like some kind of like wave of inspiration. So those are like the big three things, right? So if at the end of the day, like I just am unable to complete anything but these three things, I will consider that effectively like a successful cross stitch. I'd like to get CPW 2023 on there so that we at least know what it's all about. But these are the three big main graphical elements. After that, there are a number of secondary graphical elements that I'd like to get in here. Last year, I had a pattern that, let's see here. Let's try this guy. So last year, I had a pattern, this one here. And it had these colored columns. And it looked really good. They were, again, like kind of a pearlescent fabric or floss. So I think I want to use those same elements here. So I have the admissions rainbow and I kind of copy and pasted the columns in here. But I need to figure out how to tie it in. So you can see I did a couple of color bars and things like that. But right now, kind of what I'm leaning towards is this kind of like left to right ripple effect. I don't know, I might have it kind of swoop, or I might just have it be like a straight wipe across like it is now. It's intensely obnoxious to cross stitch individual points like out in space. You have to do something called a pin stitch, which requires like splitting the weave of the fabric in order to lock it in and like all this stuff. And like that's all, unless you cross stitch, you have no idea what that means, except that like if I am doing these 50 hours in to this cross stitching marathon, the mic's going to be muted because what I'm going to be muttering to myself is not fit for internet ears, YouTube ears. So I like this like concept effect, just kind of the sprinkling of colors, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to be. So what I want to kind of start with is let's get ourselves some fresh canvas here and start mocking up like the final thing. So let's grab these guys because we know we like these. And we're going to put them down here. Also, I don't know if you tuned into the earlier streams, but I'm kind of like rotated in a new direction in my basement. So you get a bit of like you can see which parts of my basement, like I've just surrendered to the chaos gods. Like I've given in to the 4-year-old and the wife who loves jigsaw puzzles, and it's just chaos. But then over on this side, you have my 3 biggest, proudest, like impulse buys. That's where I have the 8-foot tall Costco teddy bear, the fully legit, like built just for me ski ball machine straight from the factory, and the 7-foot tall K'NEX Ferris wheel. Those are like, you want to talk life after MIT? That's what you get to do as a grown-up. You get to buy whatever you want. So I like these 3 elements. Just show of hands, or however you want to do it. How do we feel about like overlaying the years on the elements? Is that good? Is that bad? I mean, this seems a little rigid and formal, just having it beneath. I kind of like it overlaid, but I could also see like an opinion or a viewpoint that it's like a bit much, or maybe it shouldn't overlay as much. I don't know. Yes, the Costco teddy bear is the best thing ever. Back when BuzzFeed was actually like a thing, a picture of my giant teddy bear within my house like was like a part of a BuzzFeed article and front page Reddit. So my particular giant teddy bear is like mediocre internet famous, but he's super cool. He's lived with us in like 3 houses now and like carting him around. Like I got him in Oregon and now I'm in Indiana. So he's lived in like 2 different storage units and an apartment, and no, 2 apartments, 2 storage units, and 3 houses, and driven across the country. So he's doing great. I don't think they sell them anymore, or if they do, it's like super rare to find them. So I'm gonna keep that guy. Okay, so let me at the very least just grab these numbers and we can kind of experiment with them. No harm, no foul. Bring them down here. So yeah, I really like right below. I mean, unless I build it into some kind of timeline, which I don't particularly want to do. I don't like it up at the top. That's not, I don't like that. It's all just so subjective. And like, yes, it's me stitching it, so I kind of get to choose, but other people are the ones that have to look at it later. I kind of like just a little bit of overlap. I don't know if there's, I think there's enough contrast between the three and the pipe. We'll leave that for a bit. And then let's just draw a kind of like a reference line here so that we know that we have to go one square above the reference line. So to those just tuning in or who've been here for a while and only got to listen to me talk about teddy bears, Ferris wheels, and this thing, the way this is supposed to work and the way it can work, it's totally up to you, is I will talk about pretty much whatever you guys bring up, or if you don't bring anything up, you just get to listen to whatever I want to talk about. And just to kind of introduce myself, I know I have it on the on my little webcam thingy here. Let's see if I can do this. Hey, right here. Hey, that didn't even take that much practice. My name is Michael Snively. I'm MIT class of 2011. I was an admissions blogger, so if you go back through the admissions blogs, like into the alumni bloggers, you'll see Snively 11. This beard is only 5 months old, and I hate it, and I apologize for having it. I've set myself, I'm training for an ultra marathon. I'm running 100 miles in August, and I have told myself that I'm only allowed to cut off the hideous beard once I actually run 100 miles. So, in one go. So, like, my incentive for actually continuing to train and run that race is like, this doesn't get to go away until I'm done. But so this is 5 months. So in another 4 months, imagine this like twice as long. Like that's where we're gonna be. So you guys are lucky. You're lucky that you're only getting the 5 month version. So, anywho, so I am an admissions blogger. I graduated in 2011. I did mechanical engineering course 2, and I lived in Burton Connor on Connor 2. And Burton Connor is recently reopened this year, which is very exciting. They did like a 2-year renovation. They weren't open last year when I was on campus, but this year they are. So that is a dorm you can choose to live in. So if you have any questions about dorms or culture or what it's like, things like that, I'm happy to answer them. It has been over 10 years since I graduated. So specific things like financial aid or dining or like, you know, the intricacies of the dining plan and things like that, I'm less able to answer, but I can kind of steer you in the right direction with regards to where to look. Other than that, let's do this. Let's design this thing. So right now, I don't hate this kind of sideways thing. This kind of like vaguely overlapped, like classier thing. Over here on this monitor, I have kind of like I have the live stream up on this monitor. So if you ever see me looking over kind of in this direction, it's because I'm checking it out bigger. Okay. So another really easy low-hanging fruit thing we can do is to grab this bad boy here and bring it over. And I have no idea. I should probably find center. That sounds like a lot of work. Let's see. And it would be like visual center. So it would be like these guys, right? That's how that works. So it's, how wide is this? This is 175 wide. And because that's not the kind of math I do in my head, I need to go 87 and a half over, which is, oh wait, I'm looking at things wrong. Give me a second. this is actually, how wide? 91. Okay, so 45 over. That's the kind of math I can do in my head. So 45 is right there. So that's centered. And we will put a pixel right there. And then I see your question. I'm going to answer it, but I'm like doing math. So just give me a hot second here. That looks about centered. Okay. Hey, Snively, do you have any information on CPW, specifically what to bring? Yes, I do. So my CPW was in 2007, which, spare me like how old you were in 2007. It's just a number that I've grown weary of learning. So my approach to CPW when I did it, and my approach to every CPW since, which was like the 4 years I was there, and then like the last 2 years, this year and the year prior. So that's like 4, 5, 6. This will be my 7th CPW. My goal is to just not sleep. Like, I go as hard as I can with like as little sleep as possible. Inevitably I fail, and I usually end up with like 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But I would bring, check the weather. I haven't done that yet because it changes so much, but check the weather. I mean, bring appropriate clothes. Bring shoes that are comfortable. MIT is like it's a walking campus. You are going to put on 30 to 40,000 steps a day. So like sandals are great, but tennis shoes are definitely your friend. Like tennis shoes that will treat you right. Mostly the big thing is like, there's not a lot you need to bring. Like, don't bring food. Like, that's wholly unnecessary. Maybe bring like stretchy pants, right? Just for like the sheer amount of food you're gonna eat. I would just say like, instead of like what to bring, I would say like leave your reservations and your normal like kind of way of being at home. One of the coolest things about MIT is like it is a restart, a reset. No one there knows you. And you will get out of MIT what you are willing to take from MIT. So if you go in there and avoid certain places or atmospheres or things just because you haven't liked them in the past, or you've been intimidated by them, or you don't like the types of people that are normally there, like just step outside your comfort zone and really get into it. Like when I went to CPW and when I did orientation, which is just like CPW light in like August, like I went to parties and I went to like all these different things that like made me intensely uncomfortable in high school, and many of them still made me intensely uncomfortable, and so I didn't go to them again. But you never know, because MIT is not high school. Like MIT, like parties at MIT are filled with MIT students, and so they have kind of a different feel and a different flavor and everything. So just really just go nuts. Like just try everything, do everything, hang out with people, make friends, like just like all those really hard, difficult, uncomfortable things from high school, like just ignore all of them for 3 days. And just it's super duper crazy fun. Like things that I, would never consider doing in high school, like Jello wrestling, right? Like you can Jello wrestle at MIT during CPW, and you should Jello wrestle. I think they probably still do foam parties, which nearest I can tell is just a room that they fill with foam, and then they play loud music and strobe lights, and you jump around in foam. Like, even if that's not normally your jam, it's like a thing you can do. And if after 4 minutes you hate it, you can leave and go try something else. So, I would bring like maybe 2 pairs of clothes more than you think you'll need. Never hurts to be prepared for that kind of thing. And like a credit card, a way to keep your phone charged. There was definitely like a year where pre-frosh got like not abandoned, that's a terrible way to say it. We were all in Boston during CPW, and I don't know if like getting a lot of pattern design done. It's great. At some point I'd have to do this. So MIT is like right across a river from Boston. It's in MIT's in Cambridge, but like there's a 15-minute walk across a bridge and then you're in Boston. Um, and then once you're in Boston, you can walk the whole city or you can take the T. It's no big deal. But the T closes, I can't remember, at like midnight or 2 a.m. or something. And like we were there with a bunch of pre-frosh. We all hopped on a train. Like it was like the last train going to campus. And a pre-frosh didn't get on the train. And it was the last train. And we didn't have a cell phone number and effectively just like lost a pre-frosh in Boston. So I'm sure they got back somehow. You know, like Uber is a thing, walking is a thing, but definitely like be prepared to try to get back to MIT from somewhere. Like that's a good skill to have in case it is 3 a.m. and you find yourself alone somewhere. Hey Snively, keeping music a part of my life in college is really important to me, and I plan on making it my minor. Would you say that music arts play a role in the culture on campus? They do. The most obvious outward-facing form of music on campus is the a cappella groups. There's like a 18 bajillion of them, so if you sing a cappella, like that's a no-brainer. I was super huge into music, specifically band, symphony, marching band, pep band, in high school. And when I got to MIT, I literally just like, you really have to prioritize. And if music is what you're going to do and minor in, it's totally doable. But for me, with the other things that I wanted to do, I couldn't. But yeah, I would say that musically, like MIT Symphony Orchestra is super big. MIT Wind Ensemble is super big. MIT Marching Band, unless something has changed in the last 10 years, not super big. It's just like a dozen people that go around and blast music at people every once in a while. And then the a cappella groups, and then just like, you know, there's practice rooms. Like most dorms have some kind of music room, and there's like, if you're minoring in it, they'll give you access to like actual practice rooms like within the music area of campus. The Hayden Music Library, I think so. Like the music library is crazy. It's super cool. It's a wonderful place to study, but they also just have like tons of music things there. So very easy to find yourself immersed in music. And like, you know, this is not like earth-shattering news to anybody, but like oftentimes people who get into MIT, like there's super close ties between like music and like academic and mathematics and success and whatnot. And so like most people at MIT have some kind of musical history or background. So it definitely shapes the culture if you have time to do it. You know, a lot of people when they get to MIT, they're immediately jumping into research and like maker spaces and schoolwork and sports and all these different things. And like, you'll quickly find out that the 13 extracurriculars you did in high school, you'll have to pick like 1.5 of those, unless you're some kind of like crazy person that can do all of them. I was not. I very much had to pick and choose. Okay, hold on. What if these were staggered a little bit? So this guy, because like, see how this beaver is taller? I wonder if we... Well, now it's kind of upward sloping. With only 3 elements, like, there's going to be a pattern no matter how you do it. But I can kind of do that. And then what if I drop this down a little bit? I think I took a bite out of his face. But... Oh, I like that. It just adds a little bit of asymmetry to it. Like, enough that you can tell it's intentional, but not so much that it, like, is off balance, you know? Hold on, let me get a... No, maybe it is a little off balance and funky. What if I drop the whole graduation, Tim? Let's see. By the way, if anybody here actually has artistic talent, please help me. I like cross-stitching way more than I like designing the patterns. So, so like this 23, I think, has to go up now. And of course, since I've already made it overlap, it's going to be like a whole thing. So just give me a second. By the way, this is not MS Paint. This is actual like cross-stitch pattern design software. So yes, I'm sure there are more efficient and better tools for this type of graphic design, but this is the medium in which I work. And so here it is. Okay. Hi, Snively. What was your favorite memory about Bert and Connor? I really liked the dorm from the i3 videos, but one again. Oh, are the, oh yeah. So the i3 videos. I made one of those. I believe so. I basically just binge watched like all of the Bert and Connor i3 videos the other day, like in a fit of like nostalgic, just like YouTube-ness, and realized that in 2010, I think it was, in 2010, we did like a lip sync one that like had tons of like YouTube memes referenced in it, but they're like, you know, like 2006 YouTube memes that you guys may not even recognize. But we did a lip sync video where it was like a walk and talk lip syncy thing. And then I realized that like with the exception of 2 years, every single i3 video after that was like a lip syncing walk and talk thing. So like it brings me joy that I started a thing. Well, me and Garrett and Jess, we created an i3 theme. One of the i3s was weird. It was just like two guys. I can't remember how they were dressed, but it very much, I don't know if you saw it, like one of the i3s very much had like, oh shit, we forgot to make the i3 and it's due tomorrow vibes. And it was just like two guys like dancing around the dorm for like 2.5 minutes. Like filmed on an iPhone and probably not even edited. But Bert and Connor was wonderful. So Bert and Connor is, at the risk of grossly oversimplifying dorm culture and knowingly saying something that would very much upset a lot of people if I were still a student, but I'm an alum now, so I can say whatever I want. The general kind of like split that you will find at MIT in terms of dorms is East Campus and West Campus. It's more complex than that. There are fewer dorms in East Campus now. There are more dorms in West Campus. I have no idea really how the culture works now, but I can't imagine it's too dissimilar. East Campus, much more traditionally MIT crazy. So like tons of dyed hair and murals everywhere and cats running around and crazy things being built in the courtyards, and very much like that just kind of like frenetic MIT, like just chaos energy. That's East Campus. And then West Campus is much more of a straight-laced traditional dorm environment. And then you have this kind of smearing spectrum, right? Because nothing is black and white. And so on this smeary spectrum of East Campus to West Campus, you have Bert and Connor kind of like in the middle. So back in the day, we would always say that Bert and Connor is like an East Campus satellite in West Campus. So not quite as much chaos energy as East Campus, but more chaos energy than like McGregor, Next, and New. And so you'll find that I would think that after like all the East Campus plus Random is like the ultimate East Campus satellite, but also its own thing that I'm not even going to try to describe. After like that group of dorms, I would say that Bert and Connor has more hackers, more cooking, more just kind of like exploring and doing weird, crazy things and stuff like that. That's kind of the Bert and Connor vibe. So no dining hall in Bert and Connor, suite style living. So each floor is broken into like a half a dozen to like 6 to 10 different suites. And then the different, like each suite has 3 or 4 or 5 different rooms in it, a lounge and a kitchen. So I lived in the 23 suite on Connor 2, so 223. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5 bedrooms in there, and 2 bathrooms, and then a lounge and a kitchen. And so the suites will hang out together, and then there's also a floor lounge, and so all the different suites will come together and hang out in the floor lounge, and people will cook their own food because there's kitchens everywhere, and it was a super cool vibe. Like, and MIT gives you plenty of opportunities to like move to different dorms and leave and switch around and stuff, and like I never at all had any desire to move out of Connor 2. And then even in Burton Connor, right? Like that spectrum of like chaos energy to less chaos energy exists within the floors. So you have Connor side and Burton side, and all the different floors on the 2 sides have different vibes and cultures and things like that. And once you pick a dorm, then they have floor rush. I don't know why it's in quotes. It's totally called floor rush. Where it's basically like mini CPW within a dorm, like in an evening. And so you go to all the floors and you get a sense of all their culture and everything, and then you rank the floors, and it's like this huge ranking algorithm and junk, and then eventually you end up on a floor, and then you go through the whole exercise again to pick a room. Then eventually you know where you're actually going to live and stay. So I really like Burton Connor. Like, if it's kind of hard to go wrong with Burton Connor. Like, it's unlikely to be too straight-laced and unlikely to be too crazy. But if you want, so if you don't find yourself on either end of that spectrum, BC is a great choice. But if you find yourself more on one side or the other, then, consider other ones. But I think Burton Connor's a great kind of middle-of-the-road dorm. Highly recommend. In fact, when I get there on Wednesday, I'm going to go see what it looks like, because they just renovated it, and I'm going to go spend some time on Connor 2 and say hi to everybody and see what the new inside looks like. Very excited. Okay. You are welcome. I hope that helped. Okay, so now they're just out of level. That doesn't work. I kind of like that. Man, that brass rat is like super wide, and this is too far away. He needs to be a little closer. You all should feel free to swing by the way, when I'm cross-stitching. Like, the in real life conversation is like super awkward and uncomfortable, because it's like, hi, I tuned into your live stream, and I say, hi, I live streamed, and then like there's nothing else to talk about. But like, don't worry about it. It's going to be the first of like hundreds of awkward conversations you have. So just feel free, break the ice with me, like get over your awkward conversation phobia. I am happy to make it as awkward as I can. That way you really just like, get started off on the right foot. I am the king of like awkward admissions blogger introductions. Believe it or not, back in the day in 2008, when I was an admissions blogger, that was like when blogs were like actually one of the only things on the internet. Like Twitter had only existed for like a year or so. Like long form factor written blogs were it. That's why the admissions blog existed. I was actually like moderately internet famous. Like, I know it's crazy, but now I have fallen away into like internet obscurity. But for a while there, man, I was getting hundreds of comments on my blog entries, and I was cranking them out like every 2 days. So just saying. I'm like that kid that like graduated from high school and then like just can't give up his, like, he peaked in high school. I peaked in college. That's why I'm doing this. I'm like grasping, like clinging to the last vestiges of like internet fame. That's not true. I just really like cross-stitching. And I like visiting campus, and I like having an excuse to visit campus while doing something that I enjoy. So I'm going to just kind of stick with this for a bit. It looks okay. CPW. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 letters. How many colors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Dang. Ooh, MIT CPW? Nah, that'd break brand. Can't do MIT and rainbow. Branding is important. So, okay, so this is going to be like, gross, obviously. But like, what if it was like, oh, stop it. What if like the rainbows like kind of did something like that? Like, right? And kind of like flowed, like think, I don't know, animated Disney movie where like leaves like fly into the air and kind of flutter away. If possible, right? Like if I have that skill set, I wonder if I could pull that off, if that would look good. Except it would be the little dots, So like these little rainbow dots, instead of just being like exploded onto the canvas, if they kind of like that. I cannot believe that the MIT admissions office lets me do this. You get like, I'm sure someone is in the stream right now, like of the 7 people watching, one of them at least is someone on the admissions staff there to like make sure that I don't go totally off the rails. But like, I could totally go off the rails. I won't. But this is your moment to get like remarkably honest opinions, because there's no one stopping me. Thank you, Christine. I'm in a bit of a design purgatory with the pattern right now. So if you have any wonderful ways or ideas of incorporating like this rainbow into it in a way that makes it look a little less like 2-dimensional and like pixely, I'd be totally down. It doesn't look bad. It's just even like a line like that. But oh, the first day you were here. Yeah, so the first day was maybe a little more like this. I tried to keep some of the elements. But even, yeah. You'll notice from the first day that the beaver that was living over here is now living over here. Yeah, no, it's getting there. I just need this final little, like, push. I think that the, I don't think I like that white. I think that no, what happened here? We had like a shift. Oh, is that 2, right? Oh, wait, what is going on? Hold on. My 2s are all messed up. I got 2 chaos. Oh my gosh. What's happening? What's happening? Is this 2 on the right okay? No. No, it is very much not okay. Hold on. I don't think the 7's okay either. I think there was like a dimensional shift, like a time warp happened there. Does the 7 need to come down? We'll just replace it. It's a hot mess. This is why you have a bunch of different ones of these all over the canvas, so that when something just explodes, you just go and you grab your backup. There we go. That like looks mostly okay. Favorite class I took at MIT, super easy question, super easy answer. 2OOB. 2OOB is toy product design. I like it for 2 reasons. 1, I love toys. 2, I love product design. So I didn't really know that I liked both of those until I took the class, but like aesthetics and design, there's design, which is like graphic design and like just design. But this is a design class where the focus is on toys, user experience and colors and playability and all this stuff. And so it's a super fun class where you learn to design toys. You're broken into teams, you prototype toys, you play test them. You go and you visit the Hasbro World Headquarters and you get a tour through there. And then at the very end, you have the presentations where you as a team get to present your toy and show it off to everybody. And it's like super fun. Yeah, so I was considering Rainbow, and maybe I didn't do a good enough job like verbalizing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 letters, right? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 colors leaves 3 extra. So I can't do all the colors, which in and of itself is not a huge deal. There's 3 colors I need, and I was like, oh, MIT. MIT has 3 letters, let's do that. But then I realized that I would be breaking brand because MIT, when you put it there, has to be specific colors and not like random colors. Otherwise, it screws with the graphic identity, and it's like a big problem. So then I immediately chucked out the rainbow idea for CPW because I didn't have enough letters. But if someone has I could spell out campus preview weekend all the way across. That seems just like not the right answer. That seems like the kind of thing you'd do to someone like if you wanted to like really like twist the knife, you know? When I was at MIT, about what percentage of my classmates were going to grad school versus the workforce? If you happen to have an idea, then more specifically, course 18. I think course 18 is probably fairly easy to answer. I think course 18, like, I don't know. I think most go to grad school for course 18. Like, if you're doing math, like, 18 is math, right? Yes, 18. Yes. If you're doing math, like, I think your options are far more limited if you are not going to grad school. Like, you need that because you're either going into academia or some kind of like crazy scientific-y something, and like you need that like post-grad, like grad and post-grad, and like as much as you can get. I don't know the exact percentages. I know that it felt like just as many of my classmates went to grad school as didn't go to grad school. I didn't go to grad school. Of my friend group at MIT, like I am one of the only ones that doesn't have a PhD. So that's an argument against my like 50-50 split. But I went straight out into work and never looked back and had a great time. But I would say for course 18, you could probably expect some kind of like post-secondary education. Guys, what do I do? I mean, I could do this. Okay, hold on. Let me just... I'm pulling something up really quick because it worked really well last year and I see no reason why I couldn't repeat it. So last year, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sharing the app. I don't want to mess with that on the fly. That sounds really hard. Oh, maybe I can. Hold on. We're gonna go crazy here. How's that? Hey, look at that. My OBS skills are top notch. Okay. Last year, I did this cool like waterfall thing. Like with this kind of like, and I know it would be like a direct ripoff, but I kind of want to do it again. Let's see if I can find a picture of it to show you guys. Let's see. Because it was super cool. I'm pulling up a picture on this monitor. That's why I'm looking over here. Give me a second. Getting close. There it is. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna share it. It's always this delicate dance of like not sharing. Like I don't have anything bad like on my computer, but like I don't know if I'm gonna like accidentally randomly share something that I don't want like recorded into like YouTube forever. So I think what I can do is do not that, not that, not that. There. Well, that that's nothing. Ah. All right, we're going to just do. I have no way of showing you guys this. What's this do? Whoa, no! See, this is the risky run. Everything is, I'm breaking everything right now. Okay, just gray is fine. I can work with just gray. Give me a half second. Oh, that's not better. Oh, that's not better. Okay, I give up. Whoa! That was a wild trip. I'm just gonna have to show you this. This is fine. This will suffice. So anyway, I did this like cool trickly rainbow thing. So I think I have the technology here. I can literally just grab this and is that just, wait, what's going on here? There we go. That is what I get for trying to like live switch random sources within my broadcast. It did not go well. Yeah, so this rainbow thing. I wonder if there's, oh, it's like inverse. Look at that. No biggie. Look at that, I fixed it. Is there a way to leverage that and to use that? Yeah, people thought it was like the reflection off of a river. So like if you look at the, oh, come on. If you look at this one, when people saw it, they thought it was like a river. Oh, 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 see, these are the kinks I'm working out before I do this in person. There we go. But yeah, I like it. Like, but it kind of ties into this one a little bit better. But I'm sure there's a way we could get it into this one. Like maybe I am not a graphic designer. So this all may be just like a horrific like affront to graphic design. But I did like something like that. It's not like awesome, but it's also not like vomit. So somewhere in there, there's there's a needle I can thread between not awesome and not vomit. Let's put it all back down there. Was there anything that surprised me when I got to MIT? Ooh, this lets me tell one of my like half dozen favorite stories. So MIT, like, no joke, from the instant you get the tube until the instant you go to your first class is just like, it's like just fun. It's just all fun. CPW is fun. I3 videos are fun. Registering for classes is fun. Watching, like, going to orientation is fun. Dorm rush is fun. Fun, 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 fun. It's free food everywhere and like all this crap. And you're going into Boston, you're making friends. It's great. And I would remember being so, like, emotional is not the right word, but like, I was very, very, like, keen to experience my first lecture. Because, like, it's all fun and well to, like, do the whole party atmosphere thing at MIT. But ultimately, like, it's a school. And you got to go to class. And are they going to be hard? What it's going to be like? You know, it's not going to be like high school. This is college now. And so I distinctly remember going to my very first class. It was a physics class, 801. And walking in and sitting down and being all excited for my first MIT class. And then they started teaching physics. And I realized that it was just school. And that it was what I had just stopped doing in high school, except now it was in this place I was going to school. And everything came crashing in around me, and I was like, no, it's just school. Like, I'm back in school. And it just continued that way for 4 years. And, like, yeah, there's tons of fun stuff, and MIT's crazy and, like, all that. But, like, ultimately, like, down to brass tacks, like, you go to class, you take notes, you do homework, you take tests, and you get a grade. It's school. The classes are not some, like, magical invention that, like, make MIT more special than other classes or schools. It's school. So that was surprising. I don't know what I was expecting. I kind of went in with no expectations, or maybe, like, expectations that it would be fancy or something, but nah, it was just school. Shame on me for thinking it would be anything otherwise. Sorry, when I get really quiet, like, it's because I'm staring at this and trying to figure out, like, what to do with this stupid rainbow. It's not stupid, but it's stupid. um, Got to figure this out before tomorrow, guys. Did I participate in hacks? I am not supposed to tell you if I participated in hacks, but I'm, like, also, like, so far graduated that I care a little bit less about breaking that rule. So, yes, I participated in hacks. Yes, they are well-known hacks. If you look up any hacks at MIT that occurred between 2008 and 2011, there is a good chance that I was at least tangentially involved in, like, 70 to 80% of them. Tangentially involved meaning, like, I either like knew the people who did it, or, like, was actively a part of it, or, like, owned it and coordinated it and did it myself. So I will not own up to specific hacks. That is I guess, where I will draw the line. But yes, the big hacks from when I was there. Honestly, the coolest, most impressive one. Oh, whoa. We just lost like 80% of our viewers. Oh no. Maybe they'll come back. The biggest one, like the most impressive, like, hacks are cool. And it's not so much like it is neat to look at it and be like, oh, what an impressive, like, technical feat that was. It's an engineering marvel, but like, let's be real here. Like, buildings have roofs have HVAC equipment. Building roofs are meant to be accessible so that you can service the HVAC equipment. So if you see something on a roof, it probably got there via like access through traditional means of getting onto a roof, right? Like it's not any like great wonder how you get things onto a roof. Doing it without getting caught, doing it with something super big, blah, 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 blah. That's cool, right? There's like logistics and things there. But the one that always like really like was super impressive, like I know who did it and I don't want to know how, because I just really enjoy being amazed by it, was the upside down like lounge living room dorm room under this big arch by the Media Lab. So the Media Lab is over like east of East Campus, and it has like this big decorative arch, and there is no way to get to the top of the arch. It's not a building. It is just a big sculpture that's like 30, 40 feet tall or whatever. And one day, suspended underneath it was like a full living room, like upside down, with like couch and kitty cat and kitchen and lamps and rugs and all this stuff. And I don't know how they did it. Short of like, they either like reverse, I don't know what it's called, like when you reverse rappel, like you get a rope over it and you like you don't climb the rope. There's like a little thingy that you use to go up the rope. They either did that or they rappelled off of a nearby building and kind of swung out to it, which seems sketchy as shit. And so that's definitely not how they did it. Or they used like really tall ladders, but those would have been tall enough that like I don't know how they did it. They may not have even gone up there at all, but I don't know how they could have secured it without having people up there. They got a whole effing living room like just up underneath this thing, and it was cool. So, I highly recommend if you get a chance to like check that one out because it was really, really neat. Sorry about that. Okay, guys, we have an hour, and then like no joke, I'm driving to Boston like at 5 p.m. tomorrow. So like I don't have time after this to finish this. Like I have to finish it. I need. Okay. Yeah, lucky me. 13-hour drive to Boston tomorrow. Woo-hoo-hoo. Getting in my car after work, and I'm just driving until I fall asleep. And then I'm going to sleep, and I'm going to wake up, and then I'm going to drive until I get to Boston. It's going to be sick. And I get to drive because you can't see it, but like I've got this whole like live streamy thing here with like 3 monitors and like webcams everywhere, and I've got like a Stream Deck. Oh, I can actually show you the Stream Deck. Check this out. I don't know if you guys have seen Stream Decks, but like, ooh, this is like probably one of my favorite little pieces of technology that I own. And the reason it is, let's see if it works. Do I have it? Yes. Ready? Is it gonna work? Confetti! It's so stupid, but I love it. I have never gotten a chance to use that other than to just show people that I have it. But yeah, I have a confetti button. And look, they're MIT colors. It's MIT colored confetti. I don't even remember how I got that to work, but I have a button that says confetti, and when I push it, confetti happens. Yes. Oh, okay. Not only is it a solid road trip, I will tell you where I will be, but first I have to complain more. Allow some additional complaints. So like I said, this beard only exists because I am training to run a 100-mile race in August, and I am afraid that I will give up So I am growing out a beard that I believe is ugly and awful. And the only way I will allow myself to cut the beard off is if I run the 100-mile race. So this 100-mile race that I'm running has a training schedule. And the training schedule for a 100-mile race is rather unforgiving and involves lots of running. So I don't get to like skip these training runs during CPW. Like I have to like do them. So not only am I driving 13 hours and then cross-stitching for 72 hours straight, but when I'm not cross-stitching, let's see, on Wednesday after the 13-mile run, when I get there, I have a 5-mile run. No biggie. 5 miles is no biggie. On Thursday morning, before I start cross-stitching for the day and you guys like all arrive, I have a 9-mile run that I have to do Thursday before I get started. On Saturday, I have a 16-mile run that I have to do, but I can't do it during the day because that's when I'm cross-stitching. So sometime, probably at 2 or 3 in the morning, between Friday and Saturday, I'm going to have to go get 16 miles in. And then on Sunday, I have an hour and a half run. So, like, I'm not 25 anymore. Like, I'm definitely like 34, and my body is not as equipped to do that. But we're gonna go for it, and it's gonna be great. What could possibly go wrong? So at CPW, when you get to CPW, 16. This is gonna sound like super big-headed and like egotistical and stupid, but like 16 miles is not one of my longer runs at this point. Like this morning, I only had to run 10 miles, and it was a relief. 16 is like medium. So 8 to 10 is low. 16 is medium. I start to actually have to like plan and prep and like do stuff for like 20 plus mile runs. The trick to running 16 miles is A, work your way up to it. And B, you run so slow that like it barely counts as running. Yeah, like the way I run, like the training I do, I'm not allowed to let my heart rate get above 142 beats a minute. And it doesn't matter what pace I'm running, it doesn't matter what distance I'm running, like you keep your heart rate below 142. And by doing that, you never get winded and you aren't worried about anything like cardiovascular or anything. Like your body is able to like process lactate and things like that. And it all just comes down to like muscles and stress on your feet at that point. And so that's, you just keep increasing your mileage and like working those muscles and that repetitive movement while keeping the heart rate down nice and low. And then it's just time. It's just a time commitment at that point. No, definitely be concerned about the swim test, especially if you don't know how to swim, because you will not pass the swim test if you don't know how to swim. You will want to take swimming lessons. 100% no shame in that. I actually, a few years ago, like I grew up near a lake and I can swim like this, I can not sink and I can go from here to here. But like I wanted to cross train for a race I was training for. And I was like, I need to cross train. Swimming like burns 1 million calories a minute. Like, so let's learn to swim. But at like my local Y, when you swim, like there's lanes and stuff. And I didn't want to just get in there and make an idiot of myself. So I actually signed up for swimming lessons, like as a grown-up. And the cool thing about being a grown-up is you stop giving a shit about what anybody thinks. It's so good. You guys, I mean, you could do that now. I was not able to do that in college. Like, I still very much cared what people thought because, like, there were social circles and stuff. But, like, I'm married and have kids. That's my social circle. And I get to register for swim lessons at the YMCA and don't care. It was awesome. So I learned how to, like, swim laps in a pool and, like, share a lane with someone. And like etiquette and like how to not just flail wildly in the water. And then I realized that swimming is a lot of work, and you got to like take a shower at the beginning and at the end, and have like a change of clothes, and it's like way too much effort. So I stopped swimming, and now I've almost certainly forgotten everything I learned. But I don't know where I was going with that. Okay, I don't like the white CPW. There's too much. Like there's too much white. That's not better. What do I do about this? I mean, I could just make it a different color, but I don't know what color to make it. Anybody have any bright ideas? Yeah, I got some MIT colors going on over here and over here. I mean, visually, it would kind of tie it together. Let's see what that does. It doesn't hurt. Let's make a copy of it first so I can always bring it back if I have to. So MIT colors, blood on concrete, right? So it's like maroon and gray. So do a little of this. I feel like I did some back stitching last time. You guys won't know what back stitching is unless you like actually care about cross stitching, but let me check something really quick. Oh, I did this exact. Okay, so I did the same thing last time. Let me pull it up for you. I'll show you. We could do something like this. So last year I did IHTFP in the maroon with like a gray back stitching. Let me pull up how did that look in real life? You know, maybe I want to do maybe I want to do the years different colors. What if that was the rainbow? Like the 23 and whatever. Oh, nope, that was wrong. Let's keep going back. So I think I like this white. It's like, Jesus, man, how much Control Z do you want to do? Like at a certain point, you just need to admit that you don't know what you're doing. You can only go back so far. Okay. Blood on concrete. Yes, no, blood on. I think I learned that like before I even got to MIT, and like that's a really easy way to remember. Coming from a swim instructor, not knowing how to swim is nothing to be ashamed of. I know lots of people my age that don't know how, and I basically always just let them know that I'm here to help. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Like, it's if you're in high school and don't know how to swim, like it's more often than not, it's just like completely not up to you and not your fault. Like, if your parents didn't sign you up for swim lessons when you were little, or you weren't taken to pools, then you never learned how to swim. And by the time you can like drive yourself around, kind of too late, you know? Like you already don't know how to swim. And if you're driving yourself around, you've reached the point where you don't want to admit that you don't know how to swim. So, like legit not your fault. It's like the same with riding a bike. Like if you never had a bike, you never learned how to ride a bike. Not your fault. So there are actually lots of people at MIT. I hear stories and I've seen them and everything where like MIT is, like I was saying earlier, like it's an opportunity to step outside your comfort zone and do things you've never done before. Learn to ride a bike. Learn to swim. I've seen people down in the tunnels like at 2 a.m. learning to ride a bike because there's handrails and it's inside and there's no one there and you can learn to ride a bike. So MIT is not just for school, it's for all the things you ever wanted to do that you never got a chance to do. can learn to ice skate. You can learn to just do whatever you want. MIT has a skydiving club. Highly recommend. You need to have lots of money and lots of free time. So it's more of like a, when you're done with MIT, join the MIT skydiving club, but highly recommend skydiving. So what we were saying here, so we have 1, 2, okay, 2, 4, 6, 8. That gets us closer. Like I could do, that would look so busy and ridiculous if I made these numbers. Rainbow. Like I like the concept of it, but I don't even want to like go through the effort of doing it because I know it'll just look fragmented and insane. Ooh, but I could be really subtle about it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I have an idea. Okay. I am going to teach you guys about backstitching. So backstitching is essentially a way of outlining stitches. I guess the first thing is you need to know what a cross stitch is. So cross stitching is basically it's like a perforated fabric. It has, yes, outline. That's where I'm going with this. So cross stitching is just like little X's. Okay, look at my hideously busy basement or messy basement while I grab an example here. Okay, cross stitching. Can I do this without it going out of focus? Yes. Okay, so it's pixel art. So you have this like perforated fabric, and you stitch little X's onto it, and those X's end up being pixels. And so that's why it's rendered here on the screen as like little X's, hence the name cross stitch. But what you can do is you can outline these, and you do that using something called a backstitch. I don't know why it's called a backstitch. I'm sure there's a reason. But effectively what it is just an outline. I don't know if it renders. Oh, it totally does. So see that little purple thing? So I could, oh, I like this. There's hope. Can you tell I'm getting excited? So I could probably ripple that across like all of this. Like I could do like a gradient of backstitching across all of the numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I have how many colors? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So if I just skip one of these colors, like this kind of pukey green there, or this. All right, everybody, which color do I skip? This kind of goldenrod or the pukey green? Because I don't have enough room for all of them. Okay, so I'm going to start with this guy here. And we're going to backstitch around this. And then we'll go to the next one. Ooh, no, that's a bucket. Gold, the goldenrod, perfect. You are the only one who voted, and therefore you win. We're skipping the goldenrod. Look at that. How's that for power, eh? Kind of need my, oh my gosh, it's so hard to see. So here's the thing about backstitching is I hardly ever do it. And so I'm not great at designing it into the pattern. Oh, it's way easier to see on that screen. Whatever. Oh man, guys, I'm digging this. he says right up until he discovers that it looks horrible. But for now, we're gonna assume it doesn't look horrible. That's still purple. I specifically requested that you be blue. Thank you. And this stuff is kind of like pearlescent, so it's gonna like look super good. I have no idea how to do this one. Ooh, that may look terrible. I might have to refine that, but that's easy. That can happen like day of if necessary. Yeah, that's not great. Ignore the back of the 3. It's a disaster. But oh, it's too bad you can't be there. I get it. Like, it's a scheduling nightmare. What do you think, guys? Is that going to look good? Or do I need to keep going to figure it out? I think that I think it could go either way. But, like, I'm not willing to, like, immediately discard it yet. Here's the pukey green that we've decided not to get rid of. Right, how did I do that other 2? Oh, I did a sharp inside corner. I gotta at least be like internally consistent here. I saw a comment just popped up. Hold on, I'm tracing. Tracing demands the utmost focus. Okay. Full rainbow would be kind of too much. I feel like plain white is kind of boring. So yeah, this, yes, thank you. MI 23. Oh, so she's like done-ish. Well, presumably you're going to be in June. She's going to graduate, which is cool. You guys ever try to talk for like 2 hours straight? My vocal cords can't do it. Okay, green. So we agree like inside corners. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm being internally inconsistent here. Because like on some inside corners I'm doing sharp, but then on others I guess it depends on whether it's supposed to be sharp or not, but that's not supposed to be sharp. That's supposed to be rounded. These are small details that I honestly don't care about and can figure out later. All right, time for yellow. Later, and all that time left. I am really, so like last year when I did this, guys, like the pattern was done weeks ahead of time and I was way more prepared. This year though, like it's like, I did it last year. Like I'm not worried about it. And then guess what complacency gets you? A big pile of doo-doo. So now I am scrambling at the last minute to get everything finished. It looks so weird and I like it. It's not like super duper cool. Um, I don't know, but I think I like it. Hmm. Hmm. What do you guys think? Should I still do that? I think I still like the color band below it. So like I'll do the back stitching, but I think I still want this here. I think that still looks good. Hmm. I'm just kind of soaking it in. Just kind of trying to imagine different things. I still feel like little twinkles and dots and specks and things. Like I was super into like the little Starry Night that I did last year. Let me show that. I was super into like these little dots. I thought they looked good. And the little moons, like these little details and things. So when I see what we have here, it seems like a little plane. Like it wants something up there. But what does it want? What does it want? I mean, I could do a little bit of this. Okay, that was weird. Every once in a while, like my stream just goes kaputski for no reason at all. Like I don't lose internet or anything. It just like dies. So I don't know what that looked like from your end. Uh, but anyway, so yeah, so I'm kind of thinking like, what if what's the best way to do this? Just like a few of these things, just kind of around. Nothing too crazy. Like, does that add anything meaningful, or is that just like unnecessary busyness? I don't know. All right, I'm just kind of reformatting this so that you can see it. Oh yeah, and of course that's one of the perks. Here, a second. Okay. Like more sparkles? Like you think it needs more sparkles? I can do more sparkles. Yeah, I just worry about it being too busy, but it's one of those things. So like, I don't know if I mentioned, but like kind of my strategy here is to have like key elements and then flourishes so that like if I focus on stitching the key elements and don't get to the flourishes, then it still looks like a completed cross stitch. So like if I don't get to the sparkles, it still looks okay. Should they dip below the ears? Like should they end up down here? That feels like a lot. This is where my artistic talents really shine. Where can I put the dot so that it seems random, but it isn't? Not there. Not there. Maybe there. No. There. And it's like way more dense over here now. Okay. And maybe one down here. How's that? Hello up there. Let's get rid of you. You are not necessary. We are honing in on it. We are getting close. I think we're really close, guys. Like I would say that this is like a state of completion. To the point where I am going to make a backup of this. You can't see it. I got on another screen here. I'm making a new file that I can like copy and paste all these assets over onto so that I can have like a backup. And of course it just choked and froze on me. Let's try that again. Wow, it is not working. Let me try again. Okay, well, I obviously cannot rely on this because the software is freezing the instant I open it. That's swell. Okay, well, can I just save this as a copy? Sure I can. Boom, now I can delete them. And the reason I'm doing this is because I need to know how many stitches I have. Because I know how many stitches I stitched last year, and I know how long that took. And I need to get a sense of whether this is even going to be possible. So, 2281. What did I have last year? Last year I had 2658. This year is 2281. That's great. It's less than last year. It's less complex and there are fewer stitches. So that is what I like to see because I am older and have to run long distances as well. So like this is actually going to work out. I'm going to leave the cleaning up of like the 3 back stitching as an exercise for later. The next big thing is going to be shopping for all of the different colors and making sure that I have them in enough quantity to actually do this. Spectacular amount of sparkles. I hope you're referring to the current number of sparkles I have because I'm not adding more sparkles. That is the number of sparkles that's going to happen. Well, now what? I got like a half hour left. And I'm like done with the pattern. Do I just like talk? What do you guys want me to talk about? I can talk about my family. I have a 4-year-old who started watching Minecraft Let's Plays. That's a cool development. And I'm intimidated to play Minecraft with him because I don't have like 18,000 different mods. I just play vanilla Minecraft, and I'm afraid he'll judge me for that. So I guess I do worry about judgment as an adult. It's just judgment from my son for not playing a complex version of Minecraft. I have a 9-month-old who has a really, really goofy, stupid shaped head. So today we went to a doctor and he got a helmet. And he's very cute in his helmet. Hold on. This is not the right way to do this. There are far fancier ways of doing this, but like, come on, look at that. He's so cute. He has a helmet and it's going to make his head be less of a stupid shape. I like vanilla Minecraft. I think the maximum amount of customization I like to do to Minecraft is just like my character skin. That's about as customized as I like to get. Let's see what other. I mean, we're at the point now where like with this streaming setup I have and everything, like we could record ourselves playing games together, and I've got a capture card, so like we could do like Mario Kart and stuff and play Nintendo and everything. And it's just that like that running schedule, that training schedule is absurd. Like so this morning I had to wake up at 4 in order to get my 10 miles in and get home in time to like get everybody ready for school. And then for the 20-mile runs, I have to start those at like 2 or 3 in the morning because they take like 6 hours and I need to be home in time to like do stuff with my family. It's like the same kind of deal at CPW. In order to like that 16-mile run, it can't just like be in the middle of my day. I lose an entire day, so I have to do it like overnight. So I have to go to bed super early in order to do these. It's, anyway, I don't have time for like the niceties of like playing video games with my son. We do other things. My 100-mile run is in eastern Ohio. So like, where the train derailed and like completely destroyed the environment. It's like just south of that. That's where it is. And it's point to point, which is cool because there are 100-mile runs that are like laps, which like I could never. But this one's a point to point. So like you start up here and you run, and then 100 miles later, you finish down here. And there's a time limit of 36 hours. I plan to run it in around 30. Gives me a nice healthy 6-hour window for like pain and suffering and unexpected issues. But you basically just start moving, and 30 hours later you stop moving. It starts at like 7 in the morning or something. Yeah, it starts at 7 in the morning. And so you end up running, like you end up going into the evening time, like just before the halfway point. And so you're running alone at night with just like a flashlight or like a, like a headlamp or whatever light you have, like in the middle of the night, like in the dark, just alone in the cold. Apparently that is like the not super fun part because you're tired and exhausted and alone and in the dark. And you do that for like another 12 hours. So it's going to be super sweet. Like I'm really excited. It's going to be good. But I have a bunch of fun runs kind of leading up to that. Indianapolis has a half marathon that I'm doing in a month or so where like it finishes, it like does a lap around the Indy 500 course and a bunch of stuff. Yes, that video, the 24-hour basement loop video. I know that video. I watched it. It does look like misery. Especially because it's like in a basement. Now, I am doing a 30-mile marathon. It's an ultra marathon because it's more than a marathon, but I'm doing a 30-mile race in like 4 weeks, I think. And it's a 1 mile loop. And you just run that like 30 times. But there's even more than like there are two I can think of right away that are worse than that basement one. There's one where it's a tunnel, like a tunnel through a mountain, like for cars. And the starting line is deep enough into the tunnel that you can't see light. And the turnaround point is not so far into the tunnel that you can see light. So you're basically in the dark running down the length of this tunnel and back for like, I think like 2 days, like without seeing sunlight and with like no aid stations. You have to like carry all your own stuff and you're not allowed to leave the tunnel. That sounds like the worst. And the other one is in Manhattan. And I don't remember the specifics of it, but the one in Manhattan is like, you basically are running around a single block. There's like one city block that you run around. And you run around it all day, every day for like 7 months. And the goal is to run like 3,000 miles just around like one block. That one sounds really bad too. That one sounds like worse than any of the other ones, honestly. Like, I can't imagine running around a city block for it. Hold on, let me look this up. I want to get the numbers right. Yeah, it's 3,100 miles around a single block, and it's a 52-day race in Queens. So for 52 days, you just... Well, 52 days. How many miles per day is that? Yeah, so you're running 60 miles a day for 52 days around the same block. I don't. No. No, thanks. Like it takes me like 5.5 hours to run 20 miles on a trail. So it actually would be way faster than that because I can run a marathon in like 5.5 hours. So yeah, so I'd be running for like 12 hours every day in order for 59 days. Yeah, that's inconceivable. Oh, hey, there's a sudden spike in viewers. Welcome. I finished designing this cross stitch pattern that I'm going to stitch at CPW. So now I'm just talking about running super long ultramarathon distances for the last 20 minutes of the stream. Unless anybody wants to ask a question about MIT, in which case I will answer that. But since all I do these days is like take care of my kids and run training runs for this ultra that I'm training for, these are the things that I'm talking about right now. Could also talk about like conveyors. That's pretty cool. This company here that I work for, Shuttleworth, we design conveyors for manufacturing environments. It's pretty sweet. Um, yeah, that's no one wants to hear about conveyors, but man, if you ever need a conveyor, I got the hookup. I can take care of you. My last job was in the oh, what was your favorite dining hall or restaurant in the Cambridge area? So, first off, I will let you know that Boston is pretty much where I ended up for restaurant food. Like in Cambridge is mostly like there are, don't get me wrong, there are restaurants in Cambridge, but like normally if you go out to dinner with friends, you're going to Boston. Cambridge is like schools and houses and much more like a living area, and Boston is like woohoo, Boston. Um, Favorite restaurants in Boston, um, definitely Regina's. It's a pizza place in the North End. Call it Little Italy, and they'll stab you in the street. And but the North End is like the Italian district. Um, so there was Regina's, and then God, this is where having graduated 10 years ago becomes, or 12 years ago becomes a struggle because like names of specific restaurants really aren't. I mean, there's a place in Harvard Square called John Harvard's, which I think is permanently closed. See, the problem is like COVID killed all these restaurants that I used to go to, like Poorhouse, and may still exist or may not. But like I remember seeing like a steady stream of news of like all of these restaurants that I used to go to just like dying from COVID. So I don't even know what's left. Even on campus, like the restaurants that were in the student center when I went there are totally different now. So my advice would be use that as a conversation starter with upperclassmen and tag along and go to dinner with groups of people. That's the best way to do it. Oh, dim sum, like get on the dim sum train. Like I don't know if you guys have ever eaten dim sum, if you know what dim sum is, but like in Chinatown, like it's like not unique to Boston or anything. Like dim sum is like very much like a global thing, but my only experience with it was in Boston because I've never lived in a city big enough to have it. But essentially, it's a big ass restaurant. Like some of them are like in converted theaters or like convention centers or whatever, but like it's a huge open floor plan with these super big round tables that hold like 12 people at a table and like a little lazy Susan turntable thing in the middle, and people just push around carts with little plates of food, and you just point to food and they put it on your table and they stamp your check with the stamp corresponding to that plate, and you just load up an entire table's worth of food. And I lack culture, so I didn't know what any of it was, but I do not lack a willingness to eat mystery food. So I just ate everything. If they were serving it, I figured it was edible and I should try it. And so we would just fill these tables with food. And Burton Connor, the dorm I lived in, they had something called an IFAF, the Interfloor Activity Fund, which was basically a big old budget for if like Connor 2 wanted to go out and do something with Connor 5, the dorm would pay for those two floors to go do an activity together. And so we would always do a dim sum IFAF, which sounds like a totally foreign language when I say it like that. But like we would go like right during or like right before finals week, we would go to Chinatown and just spend the dorm's money on just as much Chinese food as you could possibly eat. And that was like super, super fun. The other IFAF we did, I doubt it's still a thing, but like we just on a whim like rented a moon bounce once, like a bouncy castle. And we just like set it up. I wonder, let's see. If you Google MIT bouncy castle, I wonder if my thing is still like a thing. It's very much not. MIT Moonbones? Nope. Well, for a while there, like if you Googled MIT and Moonbounce together, like you were getting pictures of like me and my friends because we rented a Moonbounce once and then like took it inside like lobby 7 and like would just set it up in random places around campus at like 2 in the morning and take pictures and had a great time. Um, can you still have a meal plan if you are living in a cook for yourself dorm? That is a great question. The answer used to be no. I don't know if it still is. I will tell you from a practical perspective, leaving your dorm to go to another dorm to eat with people who live in that other dorm and coordinating that is just not going to happen. Like, there's no way you're going to. It's fine for little special occasions and things. Like, you can go over and eat at other dorms and dining halls and things. But, like, a meal plan, the amount you pay, like, assumes eating like 2 to 3 meals a day in your dorm. And you're just not going to be able to do that if you don't live in that dorm. Practically speaking, you're going to just lose tons of money. So, if you want to do a dining plan, you want to have a meal plan, um, live in the dorm whose dining hall you plan to use. Otherwise, it's not worth it. The big thing for me back then, the reason I'm glad I didn't do a dining hall was, like I said, you have to eat there like 2 to 3 times a day. And if you're not, you're losing money. And so it really discourages like going into Boston with friends and getting dinner and ice cream and walking around in Boston in the evening. It kind of traps you on campus. So I very much am glad that I did not participate in the dining plan. But um, if that's less important to you, then the dining plan is a really low effort, really easy, good way to get good food. I don't know which dorms have which dining halls and how good they are or anything. That's changed probably a million times since I've been there, but I think the overall is kind of the same. There are people that never get into Boston at MIT, and that to me is just tragic. Like Boston is such a wonderful city, and there's so many things to see and do there, and like culturally, it's such a big part of the experience. Like the idea of not going into Boston is just, I don't know, it's really sad. It's such a big important part of it. So I highly recommend getting into Boston as often as you can. So let's see what else. We got 12 minutes left. I did not ride the East Campus roller coaster. They build it new every year. I didn't spend a lot of time over in East Campus because I knew I was going to live in Burton Connor. And I mean, like, it's cool, but it's doesn't look like a very good roller coaster. Like, it's not like super duper fun looking. It goes like, ooh. I mean, it's different every year, but like, um, yeah, no, I did not ride it. I did. They were serving lemonade out of like an old toilet. I did drink that. That was funny. But I did not ride the roller coaster. I'm trying to think of what other things I did. I wrote this like super long admissions blog entry. Um, it wasn't an admissions blog entry because admissions blog was like when I was a student already. So I wrote just like an entry on my personal blog about going to CPW. Let's see if I can find it. Man, looking back at my old blog entries, crazy. Oh man, I made like an entire separate blog. Jesus. Yeah, here. How do I put some? Oh, I'll just dump it into the chat, right? That's probably a good way to do that. Give me a second. Chat. Chat, chat, chat. Chat, 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 chat. There it is. Did it work? Look at that. That's pretty cool. Technology. Yeah. Man, I forgot this even existed. And I hosted all of my pictures on PhotoBucket. And PhotoBucket, like, I got rid of them because, yeah, that's what happens. Oh, it watermarked all of them. Mm-hmm. Oh, see? Look, I'm going down memory lane here. You got me just staring off at like another monitor instead of like working. Ooh, meet the bloggers. Hey, you'll get to meet me if you go to meet the bloggers. You can also meet me if you just like swing by my table and say hi, because I will be there. But meet the bloggers is where you can meet all the other bloggers whose blogs you probably actually like read and people you care about more than you care about me. Yeah. Anyway, there's a whole blog entry about my CPW. You can see what I did for CPW. 8 minutes left, guys. Let's go. What do you got? Because I'm done with the pattern and I'm tired. And if I don't get questions, I'm pulling the plug 8 minutes early because I have to be up early tomorrow to tear this entire system down and load it into the back of a car. Oh, I am very excited. This whole thing is being driven off of like a brand new computer I bought. It's only like this big. It's like a little baby computer. And I'm used to running this system on a laptop. And normally when I'm streaming from a laptop, it uses like 27 to 30% like CPU usage because it's a laptop. And on this new computer, it's using 0.7% of my CPU, which is just, I don't know. Like, it's been a while since I've owned a new computer. And like, AMD processors and integrated graphics. It's just a totally different like computational landscape than 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever. Like computers have gotten so silly, stupid, ridiculously powerful. Yeah, I can center these guys a little bit more. You can actually see them. There you go. That's what we're going to cross stitch. We're going to make it happen. Seven minutes. What you got? Am I just missing a chat? I want to make sure I didn't do something silly and miss a chat. Nope, didn't miss a chat. MIT sports. Sorta? Kinda? Yes. Technically, I was involved in the sport. What is this sport, you may ask? Target shooting. So I shot pistol. And technically that fulfilled the PE requirement because I shot on the varsity pistol team. And that was my sport. It's no longer a varsity sport. It's like a club sport, I think, now. So I don't know if it counts towards the PE requirement, but like pistol was my sport. So like my extracurriculars at MIT were hacking, blogging, and pistol. Those are the three things that I managed to find time for, in addition to like socializing and school and everything. So I did get pretty good at target shooting. Went to nationals. No, didn't go to nationals. Qualified for nationals, didn't go to nationals. I didn't do any intramural sports. Buddy of mine did taekwondo, like club taekwondo. Intramural, I think I played soccer once for intramural. Dodgeball? May have been dodgeball. You can see it left a lasting impression. Yeah. There are lots of sports though. They're not like Div 1 like crazy. Like I know back when I was there, it's probably changed, but like crew, like rowing, fencing, pistol, and maybe one more, but like those were the big three. Like rowing and fencing and pistol were super big when I was there. You know, my bedtime is normally like 7:30 or 8. Like, you guys are keeping me up. It's good practice, though, I guess. It's good practice. Dude, you'll see, I chug like the cold brew coffee for CPW. Like, it's just like a protein and cold brew coffee. Like, that is what gets me through. And I'm gonna do it. Oh shoot, I forgot a thing on this guy. Oh, see, this is why, or this is good. He is supposed to have all the way down, you think? I think just partial. Yeah, let's go all the way. What's that look like? No, partial. That's better. Now his teeth look right. Okay. We got 3 minutes left, and I'm gonna take those 3 minutes. So, to anybody who tunes in within the last 3 minutes in hopes that they will see the stream, I apologize to you retroactively. But I'm gonna go to bed so that I can wake up early and tear all this down and load it up. And then tomorrow, I'm driving. 13 hours, baby. Gonna make it happen. So, have a good evening. It's been a gas. And if you have any final words, type them now. Quickly. Nope. Okay. Good night, everybody. Have fun at CPW or not at CPW or whatever you're doing. And hope to see you there. It was nice talking to you. And see you in 24 hours.